Okay, well, I got pretty scared when I had to pull 4 or 5 times to get it to turn over on its first choked start, and I guess I forgot that new builds need that sometimes, even if you've already pulled the cable a bunch of times, kind of priming the impulse line and the carb and all that. At any rate, I have not tuned the carb on it yet. Blue here has a Chinese carb, which for some reason I have better luck tuning than the Walbro on the bucking saw with the 32-inch behind it. Both of them are warm. I haven't cut with either, but I let the bucking saw idle for like 10 minutes before turning this on, and Blue has gone through 2 tanks of idle, and then I put in the 3rd tank and started it up. Made 1 attempt at doing this and messed it up, so technically this is going to be the second cut he's made. So I can already tell you that he's incredibly rich. He's so rich he can't even get nearly to the highest RPM that he should, but I'm not wanting that because it's early tank 3, and I don't want to push him hard yet. It's just enough to check, make sure the compression is good. Operating compression's good, everything like that. Throttle response and all that. Carburetor function under load, etc., etc. Okay. Idle at just below 3,200. Okay, so we need to tune the carbs, but as you can see, bucking saw is broken in, carb still needs tuning. Blue Boy is not broken in at all, needs infinite tuning. But I figure now is as good a time as any to go over what I did differently to make it my felling saw. Now again, it's not like this is a hut saw. It's running regular 91 octane ethanol free. I run 40 to 1 in these. This guy's 91 cc's. He's probably 103 to 105-ish, because he's a big bore plus ported piston, super dogged out lower transfers, casing, etc. Crankcase matching, etc. So that's a lot of material removed on the bottom end. That actually helps balance out the increased displacement from the big bore jugs. But in addition to rebuilding the top end and flowing the bottom end to match it, it's got advanced timing. It's running an 8-pin sprocket. Gearing. It's running advanced timing. I have 3 different Woodruff keys ready for it right now. It's running one with 10,000ths off. I have one that's 15 and one that's 20. So I'm going to try both of those other two and then find which one I like the most. As far as the cooling system on it, you can see that I have air intake, a filtered air intake, and I filter the OEM ones, but I have a filtered one cut in. This doesn't get anything from the flywheel, which you would only get if you had it set up for the winter settings. I blocked that little passage off so that all the flywheel's air is forced up through that little channel right there and over the cylinders, cooling fins, to get as much as you can from the air cooling on these on this type of engine. You do get liquid cooling, like quite literally by virtue of the fuel, the charge moving around, but the air cooling is important. And further to that end, I have a big heat shield behind the muffler, which of course is keeping the heat from the muffler away, but it's also acting as a front wall for that air. If I took the top cover off right now, there's actually like a little channel that you'd be able to look down at and see that the air from the flywheel was being directed up this little channel right here, and effectively I have it blocked off, so on the left and right sides, so the air is forced right around the jug only. I cut the top a little bit. There's a little recession of plastic right here in front of the heat shield, which helps separate things further. And then I opened up the plastic a little bit on this side just to make it so that it could really push air out nice and fast, the way both looking for velocity and throughput and directional, I guess you'd say, air cooling here. I just did tape for the holes up here so that we're not losing air up here. I did that on both saws. No need to be fancy. If it works, if tape works, it works. Not you need the hole if you're using decomp plugs, which I am. Obviously I have the generic elasto start on this with a 4.2 millimeter nylon rope. I like nylon over polyester for this type of application. Honestly, for almost every type of application, because it just has more bounce to it. Oh God, I can't believe I said bounce. Scratch that. It has more elasticity to it, and I'm talking like a few points of elongation, like a few percentile points when you're at 10% of brake strength. So on cables that have, like, you're not noticing it with your pull, but your saw will thank you for it. Obviously I drew felling sights on, my usual silly eyeballs to remind myself to watch my hands, watch the saw, etc. I have the Made in China sticker to remind myself. Oh, and a quality control past sticker, just to remind myself what I'm working with here, so that I'm not, doing a plunge cut and forcing it through and fighting it back, because that's not what this build is, what these parts are going to handle. I mean, things are going to break, but I don't want them to all break on one day. So far, I've only broken one clutch spring. Although, to be fair, Boy Blue's been off the bench out of the fleet for almost a month right now. The stable, for almost a month right now. Like I said, in a prior video, I had 2 climb saws go down, so I got a 2511, and working on that took precedence. Anyway, that's the felling saw big build set up for now. I'll be back with an update on how he fares.